We just helped our client become a US citizen despite the fact that they didn't have their green card for 3 years and they barely lived in the United States. Let's talk about it. I'm Bianca Jordan, immigration attorney at Brazen Legal. I work with immigrants all over the world to help them live and work in the United States. To learn more about me and my law firm and how we can work together, visit brazenlegal.com. So typically, if you are an immigrant who is applying to become a naturalized US citizen, you have to have a green card for at least 5 years or 3 years if you are married to a US citizen for 3 years. And you also have to meet a physical presence requirement because as a green card holder, you are not supposed to leave the United States for more than 6 months at a time. And if you think you might have to spend more than 6 months outside of the United States, you're supposed to apply for something called a re-entry permit before you come back to the United States. My client didn't have any of that. My client hasn't had a green card for 5 years, hasn't even had a green card for 3 years, despite being married to a US citizen. My client only had a green card for a little under 2 years when we filed the citizenship application at the beginning of this year. And also, my client was barely in the United States because they work overseas. So how is it that my client was able to become a US citizen despite not having the things that you're supposed to have that the law says that you're supposed to have in order to apply for US citizenship? Well, believe it or not, the law let my client do that. So there is a section of our immigration law. So for all of you who are maybe some legal nerds, maybe the attorneys that might be watching this video right now. So the section of our immigration law, which is the Immigration and Nationality Act, the section that covers citizenship, is section 316B. And that section states that the spouse of a U.S. citizen who works abroad for the U.S. government, a public international organization in which the U.S. participates by treaty or statute, an American institution of research recognized by the Department of Homeland Security, a religious organization ministering or doing missionary work, or an American firm or a subsidiary thereof engaged in the development of foreign trade and U.S. commerce. If that person meets one of these criteria, they don't have to meet the physical presence requirement. They don't necessarily have to have their green card for 3 years or 5 years. They are able to apply for citizenship to become a naturalized U.S. citizen. And that is what we did for our client. Our client is married to someone who is a missionary in another country, who does missionary work for a religious organization. And so we were able to apply for naturalization on that basis. And from start to finish, the case ended up taking about 8 months to be approved because the immigration officers weren't really familiar with that section of the law. And so even though my client passed the citizenship interview with flying colors, because the citizenship interview is still the same, the process is still the same. You still apply, you still have to pass the civics test as well as the English reading and writing test, which my client passed with flying colors. But after the interview, the immigration officer needed to do further research because they weren't really familiar with this section of the law. And ultimately, my client's citizenship application was approved and they were able to become a US citizenship a couple of weeks ago. So I share this video with you not only to show that it's possible, but also you might be thinking that there's only one way to get a green card, get citizenship, get something to help you live here. But it really takes understanding the immigration law to get what you're looking for. My client tried to apply for citizenship on their own and their case was denied. And then they hired me, an immigration attorney who understands the law, understands how to interpret the law, and understands how to make the correct argument for the immigration officers to really understand what is going on. And granted, this immigration officer still wanted to do their own further research despite my explanation. That is really what helped with my client being able to apply for citizenship now instead of waiting a couple more years to do so. So now my client is free to continue doing work overseas without any danger of having to come back and forth in the United States, which sometimes can actually put you at risk for losing your green card. So I hope you found this video helpful. Please share with anybody that you know who could benefit from having this information. And if you're interested in working with me on your own immigration case, you can visit brazenlegal.com, or you can tap down into the show notes for my office phone number to give us a call. Thanks for watching.